Hey everybody, it's Michelle Lee with Real Talk Bluegrass, our 10th episode. Unbelievable, great day to be with you and bring you Amanda Cook and Amanda Cook Band. They are going to be joining us, and we're going to have lots of great fun, kind of get familiarized with how life is on the road as they travel down life's highway. So let's welcome Mountain Fever recording artist Amanda Cook and the Amanda Cook Band. Hey guys.
Hey. Howdy.
So, of course, Amanda, thank you so much for, being part of the show today, our 10th episode, which is really cool because Real Talk Bluegrass has, been an interesting adventure, not for myself, but also the fans who have been tuning in on this bi-weekly episode. But you decided, let's bring the band into the mix. So this is something different. This is the first time, so I appreciate that.
Yeah, well, thanks for having us. We're excited to be a part of it.
Yeah.
So, of course, the band's all made up of, I know a few are missing, but we have Troy, Carolyn, and Frosty joining us. But who's missing for tonight?
So we got George Mason and Josh Fall, our bass player and our fiddle player. We're not able to get on tonight. George is actually getting ready to drive down back to the Gulf Coast for our show on Saturday, so he was going to be out of the loop.
Well, and that's a good thing to mention, because you guys just wrapped up about three and a half weeks ago with shows at Dollywood, but this Saturday is pretty much going to be the last show of the year for you because of the pandemic. So how exciting is it for you, Amanda, to get back out there at least one more time before the year is over?
Oh, I'm ready. I would leave right now. I mean, we're looking forward to it. And Stapleton is a festival that we played in years past, and it's going to be a family reunion. It's all of our people from the Gulf Coast coming over, and then we've got family and friends coming from Georgia, and it's going to be a great day. We cannot wait.
So, Troy and Frosty and Carolyn, you get to travel with her pretty much most of the majority of the year. So, and I know we've interviewed you guys on a road trip during an adventure back to the Virginia and the Carolinas. So tell us a little bit, of course, how it is traveling with Miss Amanda Cook. Troy, let's go with you first.
Yeah. I played the fifth on this one, Michelle. He sleeps in the car, so he doesn't know what trips are like. He doesn't know. Listen, the band thinks that I sleep, but really I just put my headphones on and listen to see if they're talking about me or not. And most of the time they do, so it's pretty transparent. But no, it's a very, very just it's like being with your family. It really is. I know that's cliche to say, but every time we go out on the road, it's just like you're doing something that's so comfortable that you just you want to keep doing it. Honestly, it's every time a trip ends, I'm like, I'm so ready to get back home, but then I'm like, I kind of miss Amanda. I know, I want to go back. Take me back.
Yeah. Now, of course, how long have you guys all been on the road together? Frosty, I know you've been on the road pretty much your whole entire life, but how long have you been with Amanda Cook?
It was the Outer Banks Bluegrass Festival, May of 2019. Is that it? But wow. Yeah, I think that was my first show, and then I missed a lot of other shows coming up because I was finishing up commitments with previous things I had going on. But yeah, it doesn't seem like I don't know, just maybe because it's been this huge gap or whatever, it feels like I kind of just started. So I kind of did in a way. Still kind of feel new, but not really. Yeah.
Now, Carolyn, you've known Amanda the longest, if I'm not mistaken. You guys grew up pretty much together, right?
Yeah, I knew her dad before I knew her, but pretty much met at festivals like around where we're from. We lived about 2.5 to 3 hours away from one another, and she called me up one day, and was like, "Hey, you want to join the band?" And I already knew her, but yeah, so it's probably I've probably known her over 10 years now.
Wow.
I guess.
Yeah.
Virginia.
And did you like were like, really? You want me to join a band? Like, seriously? Your band?
No, I was excited about it. I grew up playing music with my cousins, and we were in a family band, and then after they just weren't really, I guess, ready to like go on and play anymore. We just we all split up a little bit, and so then I started playing with some other local people, and then I moved off to college, Pensacola, moved back home, and was living at my parents' house, and so I was ready to play again. So I was excited. So it was her, Amanda, Crystal, and me were kind of the three people that I guess got it started together, and I don't regret it at all. It was one of the best things I've ever done, the funnest things I've ever done, and couldn't ask for more. She's my best friend, so it's awesome. So
that's great. Well, I know before we kind of dig into some other outside questions to about touring together, Troy and Carolyn, congratulations.
Thank you.
Soon to be baby Boone going to be coming.
Yeah.
Oh gosh.
I'm going to assume Frosty has nothing to do with it. Please, he will not raise this child.
So far, the tester came back negative.
Negative. No, yeah.
I love the
You just lost me there.
I love the fact that Frosty's in between the two of you, by the way. Just pointing that out.
You never know when you have to break these two up. You never know.
He's a well-trained mediator. He knows to take my side whenever it counts, and most of the time take Caroline's side.
On account of like to survive.
Well, so the adventure begins, of course, as you prepare planning dates of shows. And of course, this year was a year of cancellations. And I'm sure that took a toll on all of you because you didn't know where your next paycheck was going to be coming from. But when on a good year, when you're out on the road, Amanda, how many dates are you guys pretty much on the road?
I think we were like 70 or something this year. I think that's what we would have had total if we would have played everything. I mean, we were going to be really busy this year. And this was going to be a first for us to play festivals that we had prepared to play for about 5 years. We had worked 5 years on getting those bookings. And it was really disappointing to lose those that but we didn't really lose them. They've just moved forward. But what we try to do, just like everybody else, we'll try to do multiple gigs in one weekend or in a week's time. We try to get multiple shows scheduled on the way there or back. And then doing the Old Smoky gigs, Frosty and Troy play there quite a bit. And we had the privilege as this group to play there several times last winter, and doing things like that. Just keeping busy.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, I think what people don't realize is like you said, it takes about like 5 years to get to a gig that you really, obviously you want to make sure you hit eventually off that bucket list that you have playing. And when a pandemic like this happens, it kind of like freezes everything in hopes that they'll rebook everything and all your schedules line up to make it happen for the next year. And, when you're traveling, of course, you guys travel is it a van that you guys travel? Because I know, or is it vehicles, Amanda?
It's the Traverse, the Chevy Traverse.
Traverse Trit.
Traverse Trit, if you will, yeah.
Oh.
Yep, that's what we have.
What's that?
So we have the Traverse, and we have I bought a travel a utility trailer, and all six of us,
out at all.
Not at all. That doesn't stress me out at all. We all pile in the Traverse, and all six of us, and then we've got the utility trailer. It's quite the rig. I mean, we look like a clown car when we all pile out of there.
Well, it's funny because not too long ago I had Bill Emerson on my radio show, and he was talking about the days when they were being in the Cadillac and they would have the bass, strapped up on top and all the instruments jammed inside the trunk, and everybody just pretty much sardines in the Cadillac, trying to figure out who's going to sleep when and what, and it's amazing how those stories are still true.
Yeah, I mean, when before I had this vehicle, I had a Ford Escape, and I would put all the instruments in the back of that, and we'd have the bass in the middle of it. The bass would be running in the middle of the seats. I mean, Caroline can tell you there was a trip we took before Troy and Frosty were in the band, and we forgot that we had the bass. Caroline, do you remember that? And
was that in Guyton?
Yes.
And we forgot an extra person that was going to be riding. So we were like,
we forgot we had another woman to put in the car with us, and it was almost, we almost had to strap stuff to the roof.
I think I had like 2 bags. I was sitting there with my bags, and I was like holding them, and the bass was like, right there, and so you're just like, but luckily it was only about a 6-hour drive versus like a 12-hour drive.
Yeah, them half-day trips are nothing.
Yeah.
Nothing.
I was just gonna say, I mean, when you take these longer trips, how is that gonna plan out, especially when a baby's about to come spring?
Well, we got the trailer we can utilize.
We can put the baby in the trailer. I mean,
didn't say the baby, I meant Frosty.
Yeah, oh my God, yeah.
It's safe back there. It's got it flow.
That trailer on the West Coast, whap! We'd hit those potholes.
Oh my gosh!
I was like, well, there's a trailer. Good thing your dad built all those fun or the shelving in there, and we had everything strapped in. But those roads going to Wisconsin were pretty rough.
Driving through Chicago.
Yeah.
Yeah. So you might consider maybe bringing our own vehicle, another vehicle, in future trips.
Yeah.
So what a trip, what is one of the farthest places that you guys had an adventure and incidents that happened on the way out or from? Do you recall, Frosty? I know you got one.
Well, most recently we went to Wisconsin. That was probably the longest trip because it's like 2 days. But the way we split it up, we drove like 8-9 hours and played a show, and then drove another 8-9 hours. So it wasn't so bad. What are you doing?
I'm replying to friends who are making fun of me because I'm like, hey, are you on live? I'm gonna send you something funny.
Oh yes, I see. Yeah, I gotta say, Wisconsin was probably the longest trip, and Amanda's a pro with the trailer. Like, I'll give her crap for it. Just picking on her, but that was our first trip with the trailer, and she made it all the way to Chicago with it. She had to back up like twice, and I thought she was gonna freak out, but we brought her down.
4 drive-throus.
And 4 drive-through. We took it through Raising Cane's, Bojangles, Hardee's. I mean, it's been bluegrass. It's ready to go. Yeah.
She didn't even hit a curb.
Yeah, no, you didn't hit a curb or a person. Nothing. Yeah.
Well, my next question was going to be, who does most of the driving?
Amanda. Yeah.
Is there a reason, Amanda?
Well, I don't mind driving, and it keeps me awake, and and really they all sleep. They all want to sleep.
I've not put a wink on any of these trips. Don't give it that. I'm usually co-pilot the whole time.
Yeah,
except when Josh is there on account of the car sickness, he needs to be up front.
Yeah.
So
I don't know. I just always. I mean, I drive when my husband and I go places. I drive. I just always have driven. I don't know. I don't mind driving. I like driving. I will say that Wisconsin, I just about did have to cry uncle because I think how many hours was it, guys? Like 30. It was 30-something hours total.
It was wild. Yeah.
That we drove. so I have told Troy and Frosty that they are going to have to learn how to drive back up the trailer and all that, because I'm going to have some help.
Played plenty of video games. I'm good. I'm good. Oh, we're
Yeah,
good.
yeah.
We got it. Yeah, swing it wide. The whole thing. Yeah, we know.
Next summer we are lined up to play in New York, and some New York dates are pretty close from what I'm getting from Frosty. They're pretty close to Canada, so it's a long way from here to there.
Yeah.
Yep.
So
But
we're
that's my home territory, though. So if something happens, we'll have people come out and rebuild the trailer right there on the road for us. It'll be good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So you guys love. Go ahead, Amanda.
Go ahead. I'm sorry. Oh no, I'm sorry. I cut you off.
No, it's all good. So, when you guys travel, obviously you're traveling in the Traverse and the Escape, the nice small mobile. You guys obviously stay at hotels, or do you guys, like, if you're at a festival, do you guys decide, we're going to pitch a tent and hang out and just mingle with all the folks?
Yeah, see the look at her face.
I know.
Yeah, we're always gonna hang out at the festivals and stay as long as until it's over and everybody's gonna jam. When we go to a festival and they have jamming, the boys will jam all night. Everybody wants to jam, but I'm not staying in no tent. No. I draw the line at that.
The difference being Troy and I started our careers together, staying in tents at festivals, not showering. We'd have to ask the promoter, like, does anyone have a house nearby where we could shower before we play? And most of the time the answer was no. So that's what we're used to. So we feel spoiled when we're with Amanda.
I'm glad you shower now.
Well, see, sometimes we like to relive the glory days and just forego sometimes.
So my buddy Jordan Robertson, he used to play in Dreamcatcher with me, and we've stopped many times on the side of the highway or the rest stop and try to find where we could get a gas station shower in, down the road. So the whole hotel thing is just great from my perspective. I feel spoiled because it's just different than what we've done our whole lives, I guess. Yeah.
Right.
I've had promoters shake my tent. Candy Sawyer sideline was late one year. You guys were late coming in, and it was just a logistical thing. There was bus trouble. It was all fine. But Candy Sawyer, the promoter of that festival, shook my tent at like 8 a.m. Said, "Hey, can you guys fill in for sideline at 10?" So I had to go wrangle up the whole band, and luckily we're all on the grounds in tents, and Max was sleeping in his van, and I was knocking on doors, and we got it all together. Got it all together. We played a 10 a.m. set filling for sideline. Right, that was the year. That was like a month after Troy had left the band to go play with sideline.
Yeah.
So that was like one of our first shows without Troy, and we had to fill in for Troy.
So Skip Cherry Holmes wants to know, Troy, are you still riding a shotgun?
To answer him directly, I never have and never will. No, but that's actually who I was texting. I actually had a funny sideline story regarding showering. So one time we were up in Ohio and the bus had an actual problem that put it down for a little while. And we stopped at a truck stop, and I'd been with the band probably like, I don't know, maybe 6 months. So I was very new to traveling to that scale. And we were at a truck stop, so I decided I wanted to shower. And I just walked into the truck stop, and I didn't realize you had to pay for a shower at a truck stop. So I just walked in with my suitcase like I owned the place, and I took my time. I probably spent about 30 minutes in there getting cleaned up, and then I walked back out. And I remember telling Steve and Skip and Jason, I was like, those showers are super duper nice to be free. And they were like, man, it's $15. What are you talking about? And I was like, I'm not going to go back into the gas station.
Oh my goodness.
There you go. Yeah.
So what is one of the most daring things you guys have done as a band to this date? Amanda, we'll start with you. What you feel has been one of the most daring things that you guys have done, whether it's on stage or off stage?
Daring.
Yeah.
I don't know. Daring.
I know for me, the most daring thing was riding back to our hotel after Milan, Michigan, and seeing signs that say "Do not enter," and watching the car turn right down the "Do not enter" side, the wrong side of the interstate, get ready to go on. That was probably the most daring. That was probably the most daring thing in my experience.
My bad.
And who was the driver at that time?
Yeah. And then here's the famous Amanda quote. But did you die?
Yeah. Well, the thing about that situation, if you're talking not daring but dangerous, that's intersection. So Caroline turned down the interstate the wrong way because
I didn't turn
it was,
down.
It was close.
It was close.
It was close.
It was close.
Okay, but the way that the way the entrance ramp to the interstate at that particular place, it looked like that was where you turned to get on the interstate, but it was actually the exit. Well, what was funny about that was that I did it exactly the same way an hour before she did it.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah.
We both did it in two different cars, and they were together, and I was with George and Josh, and George leaned over and reached in my purse and handed me my glasses and said,
that's such a George move. That's good.
It was a dangerous, not daring. I don't know what we've done daring other than daring to, continue
Maybe eat places that we don't know.
Yeah. We've ate at some pretty daring
places.
We've ate at just many, luckily the places are much nicer that we eat than, before, but
I think it was Josh and Brandon, when Brandon was playing with us, we were in Minnesota? Is that where we were?
Yes.
And there was a gas station taco place, and of course, I ate it. I didn't get sick, but I think a couple other people did.
Yeah,
that'll happen.
Yeah.
So, Rick out in California wants to know: have you guys ever tried doing a Chinese fire drill at a stoplight?
No.
I've been doing this.
What'd you say?
No, they're number one. We couldn't even do that because half of the band would be asleep when we got to the red light, and two, we couldn't get out because of all the garbage in the car that would probably fall out on the ground, and three, because of all the stuff we have in the car that's all packed around us. So we couldn't even get out and do one if we wanted to.
So
Challenge accepted.
I guess Rick is actually challenging you guys to do a drill.
Yeah.
Maybe we'll get one this weekend.
Yeah. We'll do
minus me.
We'll do it at the stoplight down here at the end of the road where there's only 5 people that live in this whole county. We'll get one in there.
There we go.
Yeah.
So of course the best things about bands being together on the road is pranks. And I know you guys are up to good pranks. So I'm going to start with Troy and Frosty and Caroline, because I know you guys have played good pranks on Miss Amanda, right?
Well, I was going to say, I don't know, small things with Amanda. We've never really come up with a big prank, but Amanda did tell me about this. She did, I'll say it was a friendly, threatened when I got into the band, when she told me a story about one of her previous guitar players had this I don't know if his socks were
her socks.
Her socks.
It
was that makes sense. Amanda's socks. It must have been just playing a festival, and it was real we'll just say soggy. And I think these socks could stand up on their own, from what I understand.
Yeah.
After they dry. Yeah. But I guess her guitar player at the time must have done something. I can't remember now, and she left that dirty sock in this guitar case, I guess.
Yeah,
so,
right. Where you
I'm trying to avoid. Yeah. So I don't even want to start the prank game with Amanda, because I kind of I enjoy peaceful times. Being able to go to bed at night and not be woken up by something scary, or I don't like to be messed with, so I just ought not mess with people, is what I think.
Michelle, I will tell you this: they love their favorite thing to do is the ugliest picture they can take of me.
Hey, I have already.
I can make the ugliest face. They're gonna take a picture of it every time.
Already on this interview, I have 2 screenshots right now of your face.
Yeah.
Making funny stuff.
Yeah.
I knew it.
I can't wait to see it.
I think my favorite one is from the Pennyroyal Opera House. I've got saved on there. I tried to do one of them, nice panoramic photos where I can get one side of the stage and get the whole crowd and get the other side. Well, she moved ever so slightly, so it just parted her face just enough to where it still looks real, but her eyebrows are super wide apart. She's winking in one and her eyes wide open in the other. Yeah. Her first IBMA award. I'm gonna have that just like played and streamed across the background.
And then of course there is also the abuse of they love to make fun of my clothes, especially this certain outfit that I have that's actually a romper, but Caroline spent the whole weekend telling me she loved my culottes. And
I didn't start that. That was somebody else that called it that. Huh?
It was somebody else that commented it, but you kept it going all weekend.
Well, that was Michigan. Yeah. That was Mylan, and she had hurt her back, like real bad, and so she was walking, with her, she was bent over walking, and she had her Birkenstocks on, and this lady was like, "Oh, honey, I just love your culottes. Those are so cute." And so it just from there, the way she was walking, and then also her attire, we kind of we poked fun at her about all weekend
about looking like a granny on a cruise. That was it.
No,
needed your sun hat.
Yeah.
So you guys, this is the next part that's kind of funny. It's gonna be interesting. I can't wait to hear what you guys are gonna say about this, because you're traveling in a traverse and that you're down the road, and obviously you got to pick or choose. You're in a crunch to get to the next gig, and you don't have enough time to either shower, throw the deodorant on, or brush your teeth. So, which one of you three, Troy, Caroline, Roski, and Amanda, sorry, all 4 of you, which one are you going to forget it, they're going to have to suffer with me the way I am when you guys hop in that vehicle? Amanda, what are you going to give up?
I absolutely am going to brush my teeth, and I can put up with the BO, but I'm going to brush my teeth.
I would agree to that. That would be my first choice if I had to give up anything. It would definitely be the I'm
not even wearing deodorant right now.
So I think I'm going to play some defense to Amanda's BO, and I'm not going to do any of them.
That's
because see, at this point in the Amanda Cook band, we're using a 3 condenser mic setup, and we have to get pretty close to sing sometimes. And I don't sing a lot in the band right now, but if we get to that point, that could be dangerous, because Caroline is not a fan of my morning breath at all. Neither is Frosty.
Neither am I. Yeah. Oh my goodness.
Oh man. All right. So while you're traveling, do you guys what kind of deodorant everybody wears?
Amanda uses either Degree, or either it just depends. Sometimes it's the Degree with the little black dress, or either Dove. She uses Dove sometimes too, I think.
Troy's got fancy stuff for Old Spice. He's got Old Spice.
Is it Dove?
Yeah, he's got Old Spice. I like the all-purpose body wash. I love bumming that from him when I come over, because it washes your face and your body and your hair all in one. It's just one. It's yeah. That's a fine invention there.
I was waiting for someone to say, I use whatever Amanda uses.
No,
I have used her deodorant before.
my
Yeah,
Frosted thing is toothpaste. We basically just trade toothpaste, and we're like, hey, you got some toothpaste?
I have awful luck with keeping like tubes of toothpaste like contained in the tube because every trip I go on, I borrowed one last time because previously my toothpaste exploded inside my bag. So I had everything smelled like mint, and I had to use remember we had to bring our own towels to stay in that condo because of coronavirus and stuff. Well, that towel now it still smells like mint, and I washed it like 5 times. So it's kind of a thing. I'm always trying to borrow toothpaste, or have recently, just had the toothpaste tube explode in my bag.
Well, I can tell you, we can put money on it that 95% of the time, Caroline is not going to have a razor.
Yeah. I always have to stop and buy one because I always forget.
Always.
I do forget.
I got a fancy new razor in a facial trimming kit that I bought for the road, and I was like, oh, I'll finally have a razor to shave my face. And Caroline has commandeered that razor for her own. And I was like, hey, have you seen my razor? And she's like, oh, you mean this one? I've been using it. I'm like, oh, okay. Gee, thanks.
What is one of the main meals when you guys are out on the road that you guys make sure you try to always either stop for or make if you got an opportunity to make it when you guys are on the road? Amanda?
I don't really cook a whole lot when we're out on the road, but one thing we do is we always try to find we generally try to find a place that is like locally ran. We like mom and pop kind of places. We don't really want to we don't want to go to like a franchise for the most part. But I would say that generally we get either a seafood or a steak in almost every trip. Wouldn't y'all agree?
Yeah. If we're making it, usually if you guys are making it, it's steaks, which is great. Because honestly, you can go to a steakhouse and buy $100 steak. It's going to be as good, or it's just, why would you go to a steakhouse when Amanda's like, hey, I'll make 5, or Caroline's like a bunch. But that seems to be a popular one when you're making meals.
Yeah,
seafood is definitely your thing. I feel like Caroline knows all about the oysters, and she's never led me astray. The first gig I ever played was Outer Banks, and we found a spot.
we did.
Yeah. That was Caroline approved. Therefore, Frosty approved.
But we do like to cook. So when we have band rehearsals, or we have something where normally the band comes here and stays when we're going north of here, and everybody comes to my house, and then we leave out all together or whatever. Or like if we're doing just band things in general, if we're at Caroline's house, she's going to cook. And if everybody comes here, I'm going to cook. And we usually go all out, like that's kind of mine and Caroline's claim to fame. We love to cook, and we love to cook together. And we want to, we want to keep our guys happy. And,
so
obviously
Rick,
I'm starving.
You guys do you like sushi? Rick wants to know if you guys like sushi.
Absolutely.
Yes.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Sushi.
Right there, Rick. You need to have them come out to California. I'm just saying.
Listen, I watch a lot of YouTube in the wee hours of the evening, and Man vs. Food is one that comes on all the time. And a lot of the challenges, I'm like, there's no way I could do that. There is a sushi challenge that he completed that I am confident that at least you and I could win.
Oh yeah.
Individually. I think I could go through sushi
Especially
and
right
never
now.
stop. Yeah, especially write me out. Write me out on some sushi.
Yeah, you're not getting sushi.
I know, we're getting
So obviously we hit the right food market of knowing you guys love your meats, you love your steaks, you love the local authentic food, as well as seafood and sushi. But okay, in the vehicle, you got to have the munchies. What is the go-to junk food for you guys? Amanda?
Sour Patch Kids for me.
I mean, you're the driver, so you got to stay awake. So you got to have some delicious junk food.
Yeah, I like Cheez-Its, and we have a rest area kind of in between here. It's right before you go into West Virginia that we like to stop at that has popcorn. If I can get buttered popcorn, like theater, like real popped popcorn, I'm going to always go for the popcorn or Cheez-Its. That's my thing on the road. But and Diet Coke. I can live days just on Diet Coke.
Oh, yeah.
I really need. And coffee.
My favorite snack is probably the Cheez-It snack mix. So I usually get that. But if I'm wanting candy or something, I really like something like a Meow and Later or maybe like a Starburst, something like that.
Yeah.
Just chewy stuff really just it's my favorite candy. So
Yeah.
And why are you guys laughing about what Troy just said? There's gotta be a story behind that.
Well, it comes to mind for me, Troy, this snack mix or whatever. Caroline is carrying their first child, and there's a lot of nausea involved with it. That the bag of trail mix, she can smell that from a mile away, and it disgusts her beyond belief.
I think that was the first time that happened. It was in Wisconsin.
Yeah.
And I didn't know I was pregnant then, but I was like, gosh, that stinks so bad. I was like, go away. That smells. It was like
what?
I was like, Cheez-Its, the party mix is great. You can't go wrong with it. I was just like, we even sat in the hotel room and talked about it. What's with Caroline not liking the party mix?
It's a superior snack.
The smell of it it's still right now. It's still just
Yeah.
And I bought some today.
Yeah.
Oh, I forgot.
That's right, you did.
I should go get it.
Yeah, for the trip tomorrow. Yes, here we go. Yeah.
Well, I can sit up front with Amanda then, and then y'all can sit with the smells.
We usually do.
Yeah, we usually do.
So obviously, on the road, you don't have access to your immediate go-to food when you're at home. What is one food? I'm going to assume Amanda's is her Diet Coke, so it could be a drink or food that you cannot live without. Caroline?
Ooh. I would say it used to be Coke Zero. I was a big Coke Zero fiend, and that was what I wanted. But now I would say Dr. Pepper.
Oh yeah, that's it. Yeah,
I like Dr. Pepper a lot right now. So
right up on the sweetness. That's it.
So that would be one thing that I at least want one a day if I can have it. So.
Okay. What about you, Troy and Frosty?
I just gotta have caffeine at some point. It doesn't matter if it comes in the form of a soda or coffee, but I'm Amanda's precious little lamb, and I get cranky if I don't get my coffee.
Oh my god.
Yeah. Troy, every one of them has their own little special place in my heart, but Troy is just my precious little lamb.
Yeah.
Gotta make sure he's happy.
And why is that, Amanda? Why do you call him your little lamb?
I don't know, because I really think that Troy he was the last the last member to come in the band, and he just, I don't know, there's just something about Troy that I just feel like I just got to baby him, and I don't really. I don't know. Troy does remind me a lot of my son, because they do look a lot alike and they act a lot alike. And
you got a good boy.
you got a good boy.
So, although I think Ethan's taller than you now, Troy, isn't he?
Yeah, and I saw a Facebook memory from Friendsgiving last year.
I know.
And he looks like little Ethan, and now he's taller than me. And I'm like, what happened?
Yeah.
I don't know where that started. But I just, right out the gate, I just started calling Troy my precious little lamb, and it just stuck. I don't know.
What is one of the most memorable lessons that you have learned by being on the road with, non-family members on a regular basis, Amanda?
Well, they are just like my family. I mean, that's one thing I can say with the band lineup that it is now. You know, Caroline and I started this band 6 years ago, and we've had different band members, but it finally, like, all the pieces of the puzzle came together, and it's like traveling with my family. And I don't know. I don't know how else to describe it. Like, they're literally my family, and we love one another. And what people see us cutting up and on stage when we're laughing, and none of that's an act. Like, how we are right now is how we are all the time. And we all care about what we're doing, and we all care about one another, and we've all got a vested interest in the band, and everybody does their part, and it's a team. And it's really that syrupy sweet, I promise you.
And how about you guys? Do you feel the same, or you're thinking she's just I don't know. You wonder about her sometimes.
For me, it's definitely like a family thing, because I mean, we're talking about this pandemic. I haven't seen my grandparents or parents since last January, Christmas break. I haven't been home in over a year.
Wow.
So without these guys here, it gets kind of lonely. There's lots of, there's difference between friends and family. I don't think I could have stayed with someone for a month during a quarantine that wasn't family. You know what I'm saying? So,
yeah. Do you feel that the pandemic, do you think the pandemic has brought you guys closer as a band, even though you guys aren't always together?
I think so.
I'd say so in many ways. I mean, obviously, you like to see each other every weekend, and that was fun doing all of it. But it kind of gave us a chance to maybe put some things into perspective, I guess you'd say.
I think you learned to appreciate everybody more.
Yeah, you realize what you take for granted throughout the year, and you tell people when you leave a bluegrass festival, we'll see y'all next year, and that didn't happen for a lot of folks this year. And so, that the genre-wide camaraderie regarding the coronavirus, is, I think it's made bluegrass just stronger in general. People are, there's less about who said what, or he said, she said stuff, and it's more about, like, we just all want to go and play again and see our fans, and go get giant turkey legs at a bluegrass festival, and then go listen to Del McCurry bust a G run.
Yeah.
Right. Now, of course, during this time, last year, about this time, you wrapped up your new album that has yet to be released. But you've been releasing a lot of great songs off the album. Get on board, being one of them. And of course, to radio, you released the newest single that will be officially dropped tomorrow to everybody to buy digitally. Lonesome Leaving Train. This album, obviously it was pre-done pandemic, but trying to release something, or how did you make the decision? Let's not do it just yet. Let's just do singles and kind of keep the music and the momentum of your fans enjoying what you do without shows. Amanda, what was that? Your own decision, or a team decision, or a label decision?
Well, I think it was all the way around. I mean, I talked to my bandmates about it, and we discussed it at length. And of course, Mark and I talked about it at Mountain Fever. We really wanted to have some kind of strategic plan to not just, not release a record and not be able to be out playing it. And we really, I think we all feel like this record, I think I can say this for everybody, that we all feel that this album is really special, and it's got such a great amount of material on it. And we didn't, not to say that we didn't want to waste it, but we didn't want to waste it. We wanted to be able to hold it out a little bit, and we wouldn't have held it out as long as we have had we been able to go out and play, but it I think we've done well with what we've done, and we are going to release it in the springtime. We know that we're going to do that. But yeah, I definitely think it was. Wouldn't y'all agree? I think we all discussed it, and it was an overall.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think the biggest thing is we just didn't want to disappear for this length of time.
Oh yeah.
Right.
You can't. I don't think you can just write it off as a pandemic and then whenever the ghost is clear, come back. And if you haven't done anything that whole time, I just don't expect people to just pick it back up from where you left off. Feel like this is kind of a important time for bands right now to really find out how much they want to play bluegrass music.
Right.
Oh yeah, exactly. And I think, I think the smartest thing is releasing these singles, no matter if you have the album complete or not, because you want that life of your music to live on while you're not touring. And in the fact that you guys aren't always continuously together. Obviously, Troy, Caroline, and Frosty, are there, but it's gonna be a tough thing to make happen. And that's why this weekend I think is going to be extra special for you guys, because the fact that you guys will be able to perform and be there with your fans and kind of do like, a last hurrah for the year, for the kind of year that we've had with the pandemic and that. But, I know, Amanda, me and you have talked about this album and the albums before this. I mean, you've always picked out and selected material that is, you to a core. And I think what I love to see and what I do see is the fact, like, even like Get On Board, for example, is a song that you recorded earlier in your career and re-recorded it again. And that particular reason is for the fact that you felt a little bit, tell us a little bit why you decided to do that. Because I know there's some artists that have done that, look back at something they've done earlier in their career and realize, I could do this maybe a little different, or I got a band that I think can pull a little bit more out of me. How did that work out for you?
Well, we had played the song since Caroline and I started the band, and it had always been in our shows. But it had changed. The band had changed, and when we went into studio with this new record, we were in a situation where I knew that this was going to be a new sound, and it did. Our sound changed, and I wanted to be able to present that song recorded as we perform it live. And so that's what we did. And we close our show out with it. That's always been the way that we've closed our shows. The fans love it. And it was so well received with radio. And see, the first time that, my first record, it didn't get any airplay. It really just didn't catch the attention because we really weren't there yet. But, I thought this song really needs to get a chance to get out. And in this band scenario, so it worked great because, again, when we recorded it, that's how we sound when we play it live. And, I was really pleased with the reception for sure.
Well, does that ever surprise you, like when you look back, like even in this particular song itself, and how it didn't grab radio's attention in the beginning when it first was released versus now?
Why it didn't?
Do you feel like, I mean, are you surprised? Are you surprised that happened where now it's grabbed the attention? Do you think it was because of the players on the album, or do you think it's just you kind of like predominantly, here's a time during this pandemic you focused on that, one as a single?
I think what the difference is that when I released the first record, nobody really knew who I was. I mean, that's the way I feel that it went down. And I think giving the song a chance to be re-recorded now that people know who we are and we are getting radio play, it gave that song new life. And then the new band lineup, you know what I mean? That's what I think. Because, the first album, I wasn't known. I just came out of the gate, and we do perform it live all the time now, so people recognize it. And I think that that's kind of important too, to remember when we've done records, we talk about going back and doing covers and things. People like to hear songs and that they know, and so re-recording that song.
Go ahead, Amanda. I'm sorry.
Someone go, please, God.
I thought it hung up. I don't even remember what I was saying now.
You're fine. You're fine. Well, and speaking of particular songs that you do put in your show, obviously, I've had an opportunity to MC your showcases during World of Bluegrass in the past several years, and that is it. How do you select the songs that you guys decide to play during your live shows?
Well, it's a band kind of, conference kind of thing. Like I usually kind of make up a set list and I send it to them, and we do kind of tend to change our sets to what type of festival we're playing too. If we go into a festival scenario we know is going to be more of a traditional festival, we're going to lend our set list to be more on the traditional side. If we're going to play a festival that's, a little more contemporary, we may add a little more Caleb Meyer in there or whatever. But it is collective. I usually send them the set list and they look over it and, yeah, let's do those, whatever. What do y'all say?
Let's say that's about right. Yeah. I think the only problem when we write a set list is just Caroline and I are in different capo spots all the time. So yeah. Amanda can write this nice set list that has all the keys lined up, but really for us, that means we're in different positions every other song. So yeah. I think we also, when it comes down to like material to choose, I'm like, most of the stuff that we do every show, you or Amanda wrote or written with someone. I mean, the set we're going to play in Stapleton, the first 3 or 4 songs are all Caroline songs. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, Caroline is a phenomenal songwriter, and I think that's the key thing of, bands is having some, stellar songwriters in that. And I think, she's probably one of the underrated songwriters in bluegrass. In that case, your point of rescue, that album, you have how many songs on that particular one that you wrote, Caroline?
I think I wrote 3. I wrote 2, I think, on my own, and I think me and Amanda co-wrote 1.
Yeah.
Normally, every album, me and Amanda have co-wrote at least 1 song. And then there's been this past album, me and Amanda co-wrote 1, me and Troy co-wrote 1, and then I've got 1 on my own. So,
tell us a little bit about the background of Calhoun County, because I got to tell you, that's one of my favorite songs that you wrote.
Thank you. I grew up in Calhoun County, Florida. So, it's, just kind of everything that I guess we had just got done recording Deep Water, and I think we were heading back, and I got the idea of it, but it's kind of just reminded me of everything that I loved about home, I guess, in a sense. It right there in Calhoun County, the river and the ocean do meet, and so it's, in the chorus, it does, I think.
When the river meets the ocean.
That's what it is.
Did you forget your own song?
I did forget it.
But pregnant, guys.
It's okay. Occasionally Amanda forgets them too.
Oh Lord. Don't get started on that.
Yeah. Actually, I was just going to go there. Has there ever been a time where you guys forgot the words to your songs when you're performing?
Yep.
Obviously, I think Frosty got some stories on that.
One of the last festivals we were able to play before the pandemic was with Withlacoochee in Florida, right? And second song is Banks of Big Bend as a guitar kick. And I remember this was the first weekend we were going to play it because I stayed in your treehouse basically, the with the frogs on the outside of it, the apartment. Yeah, but it's like this really nice, it's like loft apart. Anyway, I stayed up there, and I was like, I'm gonna learn this guitar kick. I learned it, got it all good. We go down there to play, and I kick it off, and then she starts singing Calhoun County.
Yeah. So mid-set or mid-song, we just shift.
The whole band hears it, and we just like started playing the other song, same tempo, and
yeah.
No one said anything after the show. No one. We got applause. We got a standing ovation even.
Yeah.
No one knows, probably but us, but Yeah.
Now they know.
So they kicked off Banks of Big Bend.
Yeah.
And I sang Calhoun County, which is two very different songs.
Yeah.
And then I switched, and then so they just switched into the melody of Calhoun County, like in the middle of the song. I don't know how it worked out, but it worked out. Nobody knew any different. But there have been times that it's almost like they say, I have a stroke on stage, and I totally forget what I'm doing, what I'm saying, and I've actually made up words, and it sounds like I'm slurring. I mean, I don't know what happens. I don't know if it's just because you get so.
It's always a song she wrote, though. It's always one that you like wrote. Yeah.
We were actually we played the Station Inn a couple years ago, and Caroline, what were we doing? We were doing we were doing Sarah Dear.
Yeah.
And I mean, I wrote the song and love it, and like know all the words. Got on stage, Station Inn on the live. We were on live. The cameras were rolling, and I know that's why I messed up, because you put a camera in front of me and forget it, I'm done.
Yeah, I know.
And I got halfway in the middle of this, and I couldn't remember nothing. And they're all looking at me. We're, Station Inn's packed out. I mean, the place was full. And I just looked at Caroline, like begging her, please help me. And she's just like, I don't know. It's your song. You wrote it, And
it happens. I get it. So obviously, when you're recording albums and you're doing live shows, you want to try to pretty much, implement what you've done in the studio, because you guys play all the instruments in the studio when you're recording. How important is it to you to keep that song the same way from record it to live? Amanda?
That is very important to me. I have made that my goal from the very start of this. When we went into the studio for Deep Water, that was one thing that Caroline and I talked about at length of, we need to make sure that when we're recording these songs that we can recreate them live. And especially this new record, that's another reason we're so excited about it, because when we do play it live, it sounds just like it did on the album. That's most priority for me. And I think the ease of that for us is because Caroline and I are writing most of the material, or, she's supplying a good portion of the material. And then when I pull material for a record, I'm looking for that. I'm looking for material that's going to suit me, the band, and what we sound like, and be able to do it live.
I think, I always say, man, when I go see shows, whether it's in any genre of music, and all of a sudden, if it doesn't sound anything like the album, I'm like, did they really record the song that I was listening to that I love, And that's what I love about Bluegrass, is because everybody stays true to what you record. You may add a few licks and things like that, kind of give a different flair every once in a while, but you never stray too far away from your actual recording. And I think that's what is key for, those who, come to the shows and buys the products and that. So as you guys are, get ready to head back on the road and do a show in Alabama, right? Alabama, Stapleton Festival. I believe someone asked if you were going to be arriving early for the festival.
Yes.
They were curious.
Yes, we're going to get there. We're going to be there by noontime for sure.
Has there been a time where you guys butted up to the time you were supposed to hit the stage for your first set?
Woo, yes.
Yeah.
That just happened.
Yeah.
We came back from it just happened. We came back from Wisconsin, and we were driving. We came down after we played Wisconsin for 3 days, and we came down to Indiana, and we stayed in a town about 3-4 hours from our gig the night before. And
in Indiana?
We played in Remington, but I can't remember where we stayed in Indiana that night before. But
literally right across, pretty much. Remember they had the fields where they were doing the crop dusting and stuff.
Yeah, it was right into Indiana.
Yeah.
But we did not realize that the town that we were driving into was actually in Central Time. So we thought it was in Eastern Time. So we're like, oh, we got plenty of time. We can have time. And so me and Caroline ended up, that's where I had to back up the trailer because I came in there going like 90 miles an hour, slung it in park, jumped out of the car, ran to the bunkhouse, to go and get in dressed before we had to be on stage in 30 minutes. It was I was ticked. I was really mad at myself because, and our phone, that was what was weird about it, is our phones
didn't change. Yeah. And we even looked to see if this was going to be a problem. And I was like, it's before the line, but I guess if you're on a bordering county, you can decide what time zone. It's a whole thing. We made it though, and we got booked back next year. So we're there.
Well, that's definitely a good thing. So okay. You guys know the trust fall situation. When you just say, you have someone in front of you, you do a trust fall, and who Amanda would you have be your catch to catch you for a trust fall in the band?
Answer this carefully.
Answer this really carefully.
It might be done this weekend.
Well, I'll be honest with you. I don't think any of them would let me fall. Now, whether or not Caroline could catch me, because I'm so much bigger than her, she'd try. By God, she'd try. I don't think any of them would let me. I'd trust them all. I'd trust them all.
All right. Now, you three, Troy, Carolyn, and Frosty, would you trust Amanda to be your trust fall catch girl?
Oh, absolutely. Even if she didn't catch you, she would try. That's one thing. But I'm telling you right now, George Mason in this band is the guy you want to try to catch you. He doesn't look it, but that guy is agile. He's like a 6-degree black belt. He knows all sorts of cool stuff. And saving you happens to be one of the cool things he knows how to do. So
true.
Yeah.
All right, I think I saw something on Facebook. I think it was on, of course, Amanda Cook Facebook page where you guys posted some pictures. Were you guys literally in trash cans?
No.
It looked like it. Yeah.
They weren't actually in the garbage cans, but we thought it was humorous that it said band trash only because we're like, well, I guess we're the trash.
We the first year we did it, it was before you were in the band.
Yeah.
And then when we went back, it was like a festival we played close to Thomasville.
Yeah.
We were like, we have to recreate these, but there was, I guess the way it was angled, it looked like we were sticking our head or we were like literally in the trash can. But
yeah.
Well, that was definitely a good little photo op there for you guys, of course.
Yeah.
So this is going to be a question for all four of you, and we'll start with the three amigos there. When you guys, a festival that you played at, has there been someone that you've looked up to who was the first person that you've ever looked up to that you got to play at a festival with? Not, the same lineup. We'll start with Frosty on this one.
So you said like play alongside in the same lineup as? Is that what you said?
Yeah, just like like the whole band lineup.
For me, it's Eric and Lee Gibson, the Gibson brothers. I grew up in upstate New York, going to festivals that my grandparents took me before I can even remember. I was in diapers, and they met Eric and Lee before they even put out their first album. I think it was, Long Forgotten Dream was their first album, but it was in the 90s. And I met them before I can remember, before I can actually remember anything. I've met them. So cool. A couple years into college, I was playing with Laura Ford. She books Joe Mullins now, but I was playing in a band with her, and we got to open up for the Gibson brothers in the Jonesboro Visitor Center. And that's kind of like a dream come true. You always like to be put on the same bill as your heroes, and they're probably my two biggest heroes for sure.
Yeah.
Cool. And Carolyn?
Are you going to go first?
Oh, gosh. There's a lot of, I guess, people that I've looked up to. But I guess like historically, my grandpa, he always did a fundraiser every year for the Florida Sheriff's Youth Ranch, and the band that he always got to play that fundraiser was the Lewis family. So really, my love for banjo and everything did stem from Little Roy Lewis. Yeah. So it was, getting to see them at festivals and stuff like that. I guess that is a sentimental, always looked up to him, his family, everything, it just, yeah.
Yeah. Leroy. How do you not? Yeah.
Can't not love him. I've been very fortunate. I've consistently throughout my music career been traveling with heroes. Every band I've been in has had heroes of mine in it. And I think that why are you laughing?
Because I'm your hero, Troy. Thank you.
I was talking about George. No, but I always enjoy being on the same bill as Doyle Lawson and Quicksilver. Doyle is just I had the pleasure of doing a little, I guess you could say, singing while he was producing for the Come See About Me, the IBMA Trust Fund project. And that was just a really surreal experience for me. And then when we played Christmas in the Smokies this past year, I just got a new mandolin, and Doyle, he obviously, if you've seen him at a festival, he's super busy all the time and people coming up and talking to him, but he took like 15, 20 minutes to play my mandolin. And that was just the coolest thing to me. I was just like, I can die happy now.
Yeah.
How about you, Amanda? I mean, you've played some stages and had an opportunity to work with folks.
We've played some festivals with, big people, and every time I'm still, drawn. I still can't believe that I'm even sharing a stage with the people that we get to, share festivals with. But I've got two, because I'll say playing Palatka a few years ago, and we played before the Earls of Leicester. And that was incredible to me. Getting to talk with them, and then Sean Camp and Jerry and them were all out back, while we were playing, and knowing that they saw us play. And I will say a really special thing this year that we got to do. Me and Caroline got to sing with Heather Mabe, and that was neat. I mean, that was just, I've always loved Heather and her voice, and getting to share a stage with her, and then, getting to play on the stage with Junior, that was really cool. But we've had a bunch. I mean, we've, been several times. We've played festivals with Rhonda, and that's just, that's awesome. But yeah, it's still really not real to me. I still want to pinch myself and say, is this really happening, half the time? So
I always say, if once you stop feeling that, then it's done. I mean, I still when I get a chance to see all the artists that I get the opportunity to talk to, see in person, whether it's a concert or have a conversation, I think, that's the key thing is once you stop that, like, oh my gosh, it's Amanda Cook. I'm talking about Amanda Cook. I mean, just anybody. I mean, seriously, it's, it kind of gives you like, yeah, I'm going to be talking about Amanda Cook. Oh my gosh. It's like, I could, dial her up. It's like, whoa, that's kind of crazy. But yeah, I think that's like the key thing is when you get out to those shows and that, to spend that time and watch the heroes that you've looked up to and then, like you said, them knowing they're backstage or on the side of the stage or even go out to the front of the audience and watch your show. Right. That's got to be a great feeling. Knowing what you're doing, they appreciate it too. What is some things that you guys hope to achieve through this pandemic and getting into 2021? Obviously shows and seeing the fans, but what is something personally that you hope that you are going to take out of this pandemic and bring out into the new year as we move forward and hopefully get back out on the road? Amanda?
Well, one of my goals for being in quarantine and not being able to be out was to improve my rhythm guitar playing. And I've worked really hard on that, and I'm still working on it. But I'm going to continue, really hammering away at that. But I did write a few songs while we were, locked down or whatever. I think going forward is just the creativeness of what we've got to do. We've all got to come up with new ways to entertain and keep our fans interacting with us. That's going to be the goal for us. If we don't have gigs next year, how are we going to move forward? What strategy we're going to go with to be able to contact and be relevant? That's the word I'm looking for. How are we going to remain relevant with our fans if we can't go out and play shows? So we're going to have to get creative, and we are going to. I mean, we're already getting ready to start pulling material to do a new record. I mean, we skipped a year because we generally go in the studio every fall. So. Right. Skip this year, so we definitely are going to be starting to work on that, so
how about you guys? Troy, we'll go with you first.
I just I think everybody kind of suffered the same way in their mentality when this thing first hit, especially I told Caroline often during the pandemic and the major part of quarantine, she's a full-time nurse, and so she was on the front lines fighting this thing. And but at the end of the day, she had somewhere to get out of the house with. Me and Frosty here were. I don't know that there's a movie on Netflix we ain't watched. And so I will say that having Frosty there was the saving grace, because we're in my studio right now. It wasn't at this house, but it was at the old house, same setup pretty much. So we had the ability to record ideas and to utilize our musical creativity in other ways that made it less sterile. I think everybody got a little bit rusty because it was tough to just practice and be disciplined about that. But we did play, and we did write some, and we did record, and that was something that really kind of shed some light on my personal walk as a musician, especially mandolin player. It just made me want to really passionately get back to the spot of me learning stuff because it was fun, not because I had to. Right. And so I think as a musician, you grow and you kind of plateau. And when you plateau, music is a job. And then if you never grasp that aspect of having fun with it again, then that's when musicians usually, end up quitting or they don't play hardly ever because they just lose sight of that. And so that was my goal. I was like, I'm going to be really passionate, and every show that we get to stand on a stage and somebody in an audience gets to listen to us, I'm never going to take that for granted ever again in my life. So. Yeah.
How about you, Frosty?
Same thing. I'm just not going to take it for granted anymore that when you get to play music, period, even if it was a jam session, how many times I think now that I was at Spigma where it was like 2 a.m. or 3 a.m. and you're kind of tired. You have one more opportunity to jam and you pass up on it to go take a nap or whatnot. To go back to that time and be like, I would just stay up and play. I would just do it. It's like, and that's kind of the edge I think that bluegrass is going to get back. And I think when these festivals first start safely opening up, like where we can post about it on social media and be like, hey, look what we're doing, fun, without, feeling bad about, being there, when that happens again, it's going to be insane because these people they're all pumped up, like my grandparents, for example, they missed their whole summer, and at their age, being retired is the only thing they look forward to the whole year. And you combine that energy with a bunch of fired up musicians that want to play, it's going to be nuts.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. How about you, Carolyn? I know you obviously 2021 is going to bring you and Troy, so much new adventures. But what else are you looking forward besides Baby Boom?
Definitely. Like they've said, I was fortunate that, you know, we did get to write and we did get to, you know, perform, but it does make you hungrier for that. So with this, I guess, dry spell, you know, and that every musician has had, it really does put into perspective, you know, how much stuff that we've taken for granted, and that, you know, you just really want to get back out there and, you know, because we're all a big family, you know, I mean, the whole bluegrass community is really one big giant family, you know, and you miss everybody, you miss seeing everybody. So I think I'm looking forward to playing music with, you know, and, you know, fellowshipping with everyone.
Yeah,
I mean, and really, I mean, you really do miss it. You don't realize, you know, what you had until you lost it, you know, in a sense.
Well, I will say the new music is what lots of folks are looking forward to. And Amanda, I know, you know, you got the album that you're going to be officially releasing in 2021 that's been in the can since late 2019.
Yeah.
It's amazing to think it's that crazy time frame and what happens. But, you know, you definitely keeping yourselves out there. And I think you guys, you know, I think, like you said, everybody's going to be hungry. I think that festivals are going to literally see, once they're able to have full capacity, they're going to have an overload of capacity of people who want to be at the festivals.
Yeah.
I know for me, I really bug these three most of all. I mean, George and Josh work regular jobs and work pretty much regular hours. So those three there got most of my calls and texts during the middle of the day. Those long days that we had, I think it was 8 weeks, you know, that I didn't leave here. And I tell you, I got really, really depressed, and I'm like super hyper all the time. Like, I'm on go. You know, from the moment my feet hit the floor, I'm ready. And it changed my personality because I wasn't able to be with them and play. And it was a big awakening for me to realize that I didn't realize what playing music really did for me. And it keeps me sane. You know,
it's your water.
Yeah.
I don't think any of us are sane.
Well, you know, music is like water, and I think, you know, everybody's thirsty for it, and they're thirsty for new music, which, of course, again, Amanda Cook has Lonesome Leaving Train, going to be digitally available tomorrow to everybody. Of course, that song, along with West Virginia Cole, and Get On Board off the up-and-coming album, is been already making its way on the tracks, up the charts, and we just, you know, cannot thank you guys all enough for being part of today with Real Talk.
Glad to be here.
And it's a lot of great fun because, again, it gives us an insight of how life is on the road. And I appreciate, you know, Amanda saying, hey, let's get the band involved and make it happen and everything. And, of course, check out amandacookbluegrass.com and follow them on Facebook. And I want to mention Troy and Frosty's got some great new music out as well. You know, tell us, you know, before I officially wrap everything up, I want you guys to let everybody know, is that album officially done, or when are we going to see more music? Because, of course, we got one single out. Come on, radio wants more.
There'll be another single coming out soon. Obviously we're on Mountain Fever Records with Amanda and all that. So, but this guy here has got some mixing to do, and then we're all good to go.
Just keep your eyes peeled. We'll let you know when it's out there. It's not going to be too much longer. The record is done pretty much. I think we lack a tenor part on a song, and we may just
we got some ideas. We've been pulling off some cool guest artists too. We're excited about. The biggest thing I think for us is we got to play the Old Smoky Moonshine Distillery like 3 days a week, and what that is, you know, we're there for 5 hours. So you play 5 sets in those days, and we start playing these songs. And after about a year or two of doing this, we found out that we're kind of like the people's first introduction to bluegrass music, better or worse. But sorry folks for that. But we needed something of us playing these standard numbers recorded in general. But then the pandemic kind of gave us the opportunity to, pitch the whole spiel to Mark, and he knows that, we'll be playing these songs for people who've never heard bluegrass before. So we did what we've always wanted to do. The songs that we've always wanted to play. We sat not in this room, but in the room that looked almost identical to this in a different house, and just played what we wanted to play.
It was the first. The first project that I was gonna just engineer and mix and produce the whole thing, and so we were just having fun when we did it, and then for, like Frosty said, for better or for worse, Mark dug it and decided that he wanted to release it. So we're very thankful to him and to Mountain Fever for
an opportunity.
Just an opportunity, and for for me just to be able to professionally do work like that is a dream come true. So
here's another thing that bluegrass needs to know about. They need to know about Aaron Ramsey. Yes. Aaron Ramsey is one of the best behind the console, like sound engineers and musicians, period. Okay, the guy's been a freak since the beginning. He's played with Mountain Heart. He plays bass, guitar, banjo. He plays it all. If you don't know who Aaron Ramsey is, get to know him, folks. He's the real deal. Absolutely. And they just had their first kid today.
Yeah.
Jovi. It's the whole thing. Happy for everybody. It's good stuff.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Well, that's one thing everybody's going to be looking forward to is hearing some new music again from Amanda Cook. Again, the single that's out to radio right now is "Lonesome Leaving Train," and of course, Frosty's and Troy's single "Country Fool," and which we got two fools singing it, so that's good, right?
Yeah.
But check out AmandaCookBluegrass.com. That's where you can grab all her releases and get yourself the purchase of the download of Lonesome Leaving Train. And we cannot wait to see the album officially be released during this interesting times that we have been living in. But we truly appreciate you guys again being on the show and having some fun with us and getting a little real. So thank you. Appreciate it.
Thanks for having us.
Yeah, thanks for having us. Yeah.
So again, get to AmandaCookBluegrass.com. Follow them on Facebook, Amanda Cook Music, her fan page, and check out all the great music that they have in store. Be sure to join me, of course, always on the Bluegrass Borderline, Sunday afternoons at noon at AM 1320, 107.7 FM, WOBLradio.com. And you can always join me during the Smoke Country Jam as well. That's Monday through Friday from 10 to 2. Same station, WOBLradio.com. And always fun getting real. And it was great fun to getting real with some bands in its entirety, almost, more than half. So, again, thank you to all of you and to our producer for the evening, Sammy Passamano with Bluegrass Music TV. And cannot thank everybody enough for joining in and asking some wonderful questions. And for all of you guys for being part of the show as we just got real with Amanda Cook Band.
Thank you, Michelle. We appreciate you so much.
Oh, it's my pleasure. You all have a wonderful night. Until next time, our Real Talk Bluegrass next episode is going to be November 19th, if I'm not mistaken. And we're going to have a couple amazing singer-songwriters joining us to kick off the holiday season. So, Real Talk Bluegrass with me, Michelle Lee. Take care.
See ya.
See you, meow.